Hello everybody, this is David and I'm sitting here on top of the world above Dubrovnik, and I'm going to review today the movie The Manchurian Candidate, the remake with Denzel Washington. And I was just thinking about one sequence in this movie which I think is low-key one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It is when Liev Schreiber comes to cast his vote, during the election day. And there is this woman who really wants to shake his hand, but he just keeps ignoring her. He casts his vote and he's about to leave, but then she says, "Damn it, I'm going to get his handshake." And she's kind of sort of rushed for him to get his handshake, but he just goes, "Nope," and he walks away. What a dick. Let's find out if the remake from 2004 is better than the 60s version with Martin Balsam and Frank Sinatra. This is The Manchurian Candidate. Denzel Washington served in the Gulf War and he's still suffering from PTSD, and he's having reoccurring nightmares about what happens and stuff like that. The thing is that the nightmare he's having contradicts the thing that everybody agrees happening when Raymond Shaw, played by Liev Schreiber, saved the entire squadron and became a Medal of Honor winner and an absolute war hero. And he starts to investigate this thing to try to find out what is happening and why some of the squadron seems to be dying for weird reasons. The thing is that Raymond Shaw has, since the days of Gulf War, been transitioned from the battlefield to another field of conflict, aka the political field, because he comes from a great lineage of powerful people, especially his mother, played by Meryl Streep, has prepped him for becoming this great military leader and stuff like this. And now he has become the vice president candidate for the Democrats. Now, they don't straight out say that they represented the Democratic Party, but the thing is that their political adversaries, they have a vice presidential candidate that stems from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I want to know the last time that the Democrats did have a vice president that came from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or that they were expected to win the electoral vote in Louisiana, but that's a debate for another time. So Denzel Washington is trying to figure out whether or not he's crazy or not, and as Bruno Gunn says, maybe this is all just a big conspiracy by Manchurian Corporation that has a lot of sway over politicians these days, or maybe you're all crazy, or maybe you're just back in Kuwait and this is all a big old dream. We shall see where we're going with this one. I love political conspiracy thrillers, and this is a really good one, directed by Jonathan Demme, who'd made a bunch of really good movies, also including Silence of the Lambs. And we have a fantastic cast of characters. We have a fantastic cast of movie stars in this one. Meryl Streep and Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber, and Jon Voight is really good, and Bruno Ganz in his very brief role is pretty damn good also. But the thing is that this movie was made 2004, just 1 year after the invasion of Iraq, and you can see the mid to early 2000s political doom and gloom bit that was all over the pages in this period. This movie should have been made either later or earlier, because this movie feels like it is stuck in the mid to early 2000s, while the original movie with Martin Balsam and Frank Sinatra feels more timeless. Which is weird considering it was made during the 1960s. It is a better movie than this one, but this is a really well made, really suspenseful movie that has bits and pieces of it that is absolutely fantastic, and I love it for it. It is a suspenseful political thriller that is a little bit too on the nose sometimes in its analysis and stuff like that. I honestly don't know if the original movie is more on the nose in the Cold War thing than this was, but it still kind of works. So, should you see this movie? If you like good old conspiracy thrillers, I would definitely check this one out, because it's a really good movie with lots of fantastic actors doing some pretty good jobs. I mean, Meryl Streep is still not, doing one of her best performances ever. It's a good Meryl Streep performance, which is better than most people, but it is still a fun little movie to see. If I would have to choose between this one and the original, I'm definitely picking the original over this, but this is still a very good movie. The ending is very much different than the original. I prefer the original's ending, but it is still a pretty good ending. It has some interesting visual storytelling, which I really liked, and it is a good movie. Denzel Washington is very good, Liev Schreiber is very good, but they don't have the same story arc, they don't still have the same character arc as the original had. But it is a very good thriller, even though it's a little bit stuck in its 2004, echo chamber. The suspense is gradually ramped up and the mystery always keeps you guessing what's going to happen next. In the end, The Manchurian Candidate is a good, well-written, well-acted thriller with some pretty good pacing, a pretty interesting story, some pretty cool, awesome sequences, and a good ending. Not a great ending, but a good ending. And to be honest, I thought that a remake of The Manchurian Candidate would be far less effective than this one. When I saw this movie originally in 2004, I thought it was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, but it somehow has lost a bit of its luster. Maybe it is, time has caught up with this one, which ironically hasn't happened with the original. Weird. I give The Manchurian Candidate 83 points. It's a very good thriller with a couple of very good performances and a nice story. It could have been better. I'm not against the idea of trying this one again, but for me it's just a very good conspiracy thriller that could have been even better. So I'll see you next time for so-and-so reviewing, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.